Ever feel like your mood depends on her? Like your entire day shifts based on whether she texts back, whether she compliments you, whether she looks at you with interest? If that hit you a little, then you're not alone. Most men don't realize how deep their emotional dependency runs until they start to feel the withdrawal. One moment she's replying, showing affection, making you feel seen. The next, she goes quiet, and suddenly your confidence starts to unravel. Your thoughts spiral. You wonder what you did wrong. You replay every message. You feel empty without her attention. That feeling right there is a sign you've handed over your emotional power. And here's the truth that no one told you. Needing her attention is silently destroying your confidence. It makes you chase. It makes you question yourself. It turns your self-worth into a reaction based on how she feels that day. This isn't just about one girl. This is about a pattern, a mindset, a cycle that keeps you trapped in self-doubt. But what if you could break it? What if you could become the kind of man who doesn't just look confident, but actually feels whole, with or without her? A man who stops needing and starts leading. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to break free from emotional dependency. You'll learn why needing her always backfires, the root cause of this pattern, and why so many men fall into it, and how to shift from being reaction-based to becoming a grounded, emotionally powerful man. This isn't a trick. This isn't a tactic to get her back. This is about building a version of you that doesn't fall apart when someone pulls away. If you're ready to stop needing her to feel okay, if you're ready to reclaim your focus, your energy, your confidence, then let's break this cycle, starting now. Welcome to the irresistible effect. Emotional dependency doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. It shows up in the way you wait for her to respond before you feel calm. It shows up in that little rush of validation when she likes your story, and the anxiety when she doesn't. You tell yourself, I'm just into her. But the truth is, when her behavior controls your emotions, you're no longer in a relationship, you're in a prison. Dependency starts small. You start overthinking when she takes too long to reply. You feel jealous when she posts something you're not a part of. You rearrange your priorities just in case she's available. You check her social media more than you check in with yourself. And it feels normal because it's so common. But common doesn't mean healthy. In fact, this kind of pattern quietly eats away at your confidence from the inside out. Why? Because emotional dependency trains your brain to believe that your peace is in someone else's hands. Think about that. You're giving another person the keys to your emotional state. You're saying, if she's into me today, I feel good. If she's distant, I fall apart. Now, imagine living like that for years. No wonder most men feel insecure, anxious, and lost when the woman they like pulls away. And here's the worst part. It repels the very connection you crave, because women can feel emotional pressure. They can sense when a man is leaning too heavily on their attention. Even if she likes you at first, that neediness becomes emotional weight, and over time it pushes her away. So you try harder. You text more. You compliment her again. You over-explain your intentions. You try to be the good guy, but the more you try to hold on, the more she slips away. That's the cost of emotional dependency. You don't just lose her, you lose yourself. The confident, grounded version of you, the one who has presence, purpose, and peace, gets buried under layers of overthinking and insecurity. So if you've been feeling like she's the center of your emotions, it's time to pull that energy back. Because the version of you who doesn't depend on her attention to feel whole, that version is unstoppable. So, where does this come from? Why do so many men, especially the ones who look confident on the outside, crumble emotionally when they feel ignored, rejected, or disconnected? It goes deeper than just dating. This pattern of needing to feel seen, validated, and chosen didn't start with her. It started long before. Think back to your childhood. Were you taught that love had to be earned? Did you only feel acknowledged when you achieved something, behaved perfectly, or kept everyone happy? That kind of upbringing creates a conditioned identity, where your value is based on performance, not presence. So when you enter relationships as a man, you're not relating from a place of confidence. You're relating from a place of survival, trying to win her attention, trying to prove you're enough, trying to be what you think she wants. You weren't taught to feel whole by yourself. You were trained to chase approval, because approval felt like love. And that training doesn't disappear just because you've grown up. It hides in your habits. It hides in your phone checking. It hides in your fear of silence and your urge to explain yourself. Here's another layer. Most men were never shown what grounded masculine presence looks like. No real masculine role models, no inner compass. Just pop culture telling you to be nice, be romantic, and make her feel like a queen, even if you feel like a ghost. That's how we end up with men who build their emotional identity around female attention. And here's the brutal irony. The more you do this, the less attractive you become. Because no woman wants to be your emotional life support. She wants a man who's already emotionally alive. Until you recognize this root, until you realize that your emotional dependency isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. Nothing will change. But once you see it, once you name it, you can start to break it. And when you do, you stop being the man who needs to be chosen and start becoming the man who chooses himself. Needing her doesn't just affect your emotions. It changes your energy, and not in a good way. Every time you overthink a message, wait for a reply, or hesitate to take action unless she approves, you're trading your masculine energy for emotional dependence. And women can feel that shift instantly. Masculine energy is grounded, it's centered, it leads. But the moment you start chasing validation, you give up your frame, you stop leading and start reacting. You become an emotional follower, waiting for her to set the pace. And here's the paradox. The more you try to win her attention, the less attractive you become. Because women don't want to lead the emotional dance. They want a man who's already in his own rhythm. Think of it like this. When you enter a relationship from need, you've already handed over the power dynamic. You've made her your emotional regulator. You feel good when she's present, and anxious when she's not. But that's not love. That's dependency. You're no longer showing up with strength. You're showing up with a hidden question. Do you like me enough to make me feel okay about myself today? That's heavy. That's pressure. And eventually she feels it. She may not say it directly, but she'll pull away. She'll lose respect. Because deep down, she knows, if you need her to feel okay, you're not okay. This is the silent killer of attraction. Not what you say, not how you look, but the unspoken message your energy sends. I need you to complete me. And the moment a woman feels that, her polarity shifts. She can't be drawn to you the same way, because your presence is no longer grounded, it's demanding. But here's the good news, the moment you reclaim that energy, the moment you stop trying to get something from her and start showing up with your own internal power, everything changes. You become magnetic, because you're no longer chasing attention, you're creating gravity. And if this is hitting something deep for you right now, if you're starting to recognize your own patterns in what I just said, then take this as your wake-up call. Hit that like button right now, not for me, for you, as a signal that you're done leading with need and ready to lead with presence. And if you want to go even deeper, we've got an entire gallery of videos right here on the Irresistible effect to help you shift from chasing to attracting. Your next level is waiting. And it starts the moment you stop giving your power away. So how do you break this cycle? How do you go from being the man who waits, who overthinks, who depends on her energy, to being the man who's unshakable? It starts with this truth. You don't need her attention. You need your own attention. Let that sink in. Because the more you invest your energy into external validation, texts, likes, replies, the less energy you have left to build your own foundation. You've been outsourcing your emotional power for so long, you forgot you had any. It's time to pull that power back. This is the shift from seeking validation to building presence. You stop asking, is she still into me? And start asking, am I showing up fully for myself today? Because a man rooted in himself doesn't need to chase. He doesn't need to prove. He doesn't measure his value by someone else's attention span. And that doesn't mean you become cold or distant. It means your energy stops leaking. It means you stop reacting to her silence with panic and start responding with poise. When you stop needing her to feel whole, something powerful happens. You start moving with clarity. You start speaking with certainty. You stop tolerating chaos and start inviting peace. You know what you want. You know your values. You're no longer pulled around by emotion. You lead yourself. That's the core of masculine energy. That's what creates attraction. Not tricks or tactics, but presence. And here's the irony. When you stop trying to be the man she wants, you become the man she's drawn to. Because now you're not waiting for her to validate you, you're busy validating yourself. Ask yourself, do you feel proud of who you're becoming? Are you chasing her? Or are you chasing your mission? Are you showing up for yourself the way you wish she would? Because the minute you become your own source of strength, the need to chase dissolves. And that's when everything starts to shift. That's when your energy starts to speak louder than your words. That's when you stop being emotionally needy and start becoming emotionally powerful. The man who validates himself doesn't need to beg for approval. He creates gravity. He becomes a force. And that's what you're here to become. Understanding emotional power is one thing. Living it, that's where the real change begins. So here's the question. What does a man who no longer depends on her energy actually do? What does his life look like on a daily basis? Here are 5 high-impact habits that build real emotional independence, habits you can start today. First, he builds a non-negotiable morning routine. The first hour of your day is sacred. No scrolling, no checking for her texts, no reacting. Instead, start your day with yourself. Move your body, sit in silence, set intention. A man who owns his mornings doesn't need someone else to give him purpose. Second, he trains his body, even when he doesn't feel like it. This isn't about aesthetics. It's about discipline. Pushing through resistance builds grit. And grit is the antidote to emotional fragility. Every rep you do when you don't feel like it is a rep for your confidence. Third, he journals like a warrior, not a victim. Grab a pen. Every day, get your thoughts out, not to complain, not to overanalyze, but to process and refocus. Write what you're building, what you're learning, and what you're letting go of. Fourth, he gets around other grounded men. Your environment shapes your identity. Stop being the only one in your circle who's working on himself. Surround yourself with men who challenge you, support you, and hold you to your standard. Fifth, he creates before he consumes. That means you make something, progress, decisions, action, before you go online. Most men live in reaction, but the ones who lead, they initiate. And here's a bonus mindset to tie it all together. Detachment is not distance. It's not about ignoring her. It's about anchoring into you. When she doesn't text back, you don't spiral. You breathe. When plans shift, you don't chase. You adapt. When emotions rise, you don't explode. You observe. This is what emotional independence looks like. Not control over her, but command over yourself. And no, it's not easy at first. Your ego will scream. Your patterns will push back. But every time you choose your path over her approval, you break the chain. And over time, something wild happens. You stop just acting confident and actually become unshakable. Because you're no longer waiting to be chosen. You're choosing you again and again until that becomes your new normal. Here's the truth most men never hear. The man who needs her pushes her away. But the man who doesn't need her, he attracts everything she craves. Not because he plays games. Not because he hides his feelings. But because he's already full. Already rooted. Already complete. And when a man is complete, his energy shifts. He doesn't move with desperation. He moves with direction. He doesn't question his worth. He embodies it. He doesn't seek attention. He commands presence. That kind of man doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He doesn't break when she pulls away. Because he knows. Her silence doesn't define his confidence. Her distance doesn't destroy his purpose. Her presence isn't what gives him power. He brings his own. And ironically, that's what makes him irresistible. Because women aren't drawn to need. They're drawn to depth, to leadership, to clarity, to energy that says, I've already chosen me. You're welcome to join, but I'm not waiting. If you've made it this far in the video, you're not just here to watch. You're here to evolve. You've felt that pain. You felt that pull. And now you're ready to do something different. So here's your next step. Subscribe to The Irresistible Effect. Not just because we drop content like this weekly, but because you need to stay in the energy of this transformation. Every video is crafted to help you upgrade your mindset, your confidence, and your emotional control. And if you found value here, there's a whole gallery of videos waiting for you. Tools to help you rebuild from the inside out. This is your reminder. You don't need to chase. You don't need to beg. You don't need her to feel like a man. You just need to lead yourself fully, unapologetically, and consistently. That's how you become magnetic. That's how you activate the irresistible effect.